That was like
But
hardcore stoner comedy for the 90s.
Ed, Edd and Eddie, yeah, Courage the Cowardly Dog is probably the only
Well, yeah, that one was a little bit better.
that was more horror
Yeah.
comedy. Yeah, but I digress. So
Digression.
we're on season 4 now. I don't know. I might go back and review seasons 1, 2, and 3, and maybe even go back to Avatar. I haven't actually gone through Avatar and watched it all the way.
Really?
Through in a while.
Oh, in a while. Okay, I was about to say.
No.
I was like, even I've done that now. And
No. Because, like, when I was watching it originally, I was watching it when it came out. And see, you're lucky because you watched it all the way through. You weren't like me and my sister who, when season 3 hit, we got the first half of it 1 year, and then we had to wait 6 months just to see the ending.
that's what I do with all my shows. I just wait till they're done, then marathon them.
Yeah, see, we weren't about that.
I mean,
We weren't.
I
about
mean,
that.
I didn't even know you could do that until like 5 years ago. So, I haven't even watched half the fucking shows that I actually wanted to watch.
Well, I mean, at least, luckily, with certain shows, you can do that kind of stuff, and with this being off topic, and with things like Naruto coming to an end, soon I will marathon all the shows that I originally wanted to watch all the way through, and
You're gonna marathon
You know.
Naruto.
my sister's marathoning Naruto
Oh
now.
my god.
No, she's actually gotten pretty far. Within 2 weeks, she's gotten all the way to like 265.
Isn't there like 5
Oh my
or
God.
600 episodes at this point?
If you combine both series together, yeah.
Good lord.
Yeah. But okay.
Loud
okay.
vibrating phone.
Yeah, Zach's calling me. Sorry about that, folks. So before we get started, I guess what we should probably do is just give our own brief overviews of the first 3 seasons of Korra and what we thought about them. Because you are my guest and you are my co-host on this wondrous show, I would like to hear your opinions first, since you kind of went through them all, and you probably have a fresher opinion on them than I do, because I haven't seen season 1 and 2 since they aired on television.
Oh damn.
A while ago. Yeah.
Okay, well, for season 1, I mean, I really enjoyed season 1 because it kind of felt like it really felt like that connection, because there was a lot of like throwbacks to the original show, and there was a lot of like imagery featuring Aang and Katara and some stuff with Sokka, and there was a lot of like, I guess, not fan service in the conventional sense, but like catering to the fans as far as putting in stuff from the original series. I really enjoyed that. I didn't really like how quickly like she became Avatar. I felt like that totally skipped over like a huge portion of her life. Like she just suddenly like becomes Avatar, and the biggest like hurdle she really has to jump over in that aspect is learning airbending, which takes a ridiculously long time. But I mean, overall I really enjoyed it. It was a fresh take on the show. I liked how they kind of turned it into a steampunky thing. It was a lot more futuristic. I did feel like that was a little rushed, because like the distance in time frame between like ancient Chinese like architecture and giant bustling cities is such a massive expanse. I always felt like that was a little rushed. Because that's like what Aang was in like his mid-50s or something when he died, mid-40s.
No, he would have actually, because I think Korra was actually 16, and I think it was like a 75-year jump.
Yeah, that's still a pretty small jump in the distance between like ancient architecture and stuff that you don't see until like the mid-20th century. Granted, it's a cartoon and they had bendings and metal bending, and that made things a lot easier probably, but it felt, and obviously since the first season wasn't really meant to be a constant continuous, it was meant to be that season and that was it. I guess I understand why they rushed it, since they felt they had to get as much information out as far as like backstory as they could in a tiny amount of time.
Right.
Yeah, that's me. So what'd you think about it?
Okay, when we're talking about season 1, it's probably my favorite story-wise, because at the time period when it came out, what I was aware of and what everyone else was aware of was this was a one shot deal. At the time, I think everyone was aware there was a one shot deal. And so it was like, okay, so we get these 13, 12, so many episodes of Avatar that kind of tells what happens in the future. Sweet. And I remember the first episode when they introduce Korra and she literally says, "I'm the Avatar, deal with it." And then she does her fire bending, the earth bending, the water bending, and all that kind of stuff as this little tiny girl. I'm like, okay, this person's completely different to Aang. She's a little headstrong. She might be a little cocky. Okay, I think I can deal with this. And throughout the entire series, uh, she was okay. Granted, I got kind of annoyed with the fact that she kind of wasn't learning and she wasn't trying so hard and was really against change to a degree and was more interested in what she wanted to do, like the pro bending stuff. And at first I didn't like it, but then I kind of realized I was still holding on to the previous Avatar Aang, who was believe that Sue is the product of Sokka.
I can see that.
We all believe that, but we don't know whose Lin's father is, and if I have to go based off the comics, there's this character currently in the current comic series, the Rift, that she meets, who is like enamored with her metal bending. That might be Lin's father, but I digress. But that was interesting. I like the fact that you get information that Toph is still alive, because for the longest time, the only person from the original Team Avatar that you know alive are Zuko and Katara. Those are the only two people.
True.
You never hear anything about Sokka, and Aang is, of course, dead.
Well, I mean, you see a little bit of Sokka, I think, in Season 2. You see him at the tribunal or courtroom for something.
You do?
Yeah, but it's like you see him at the when they were in Season 2 when they were talking about I don't know. Wait, it was either Season 1 or 2, but at some point during some trial they had in the past, there was a flashback to where both Aang and Sokka were in like the tribunal.
Yeah, that was season 1. But what I'm saying is more the fact that there are people still alive while Korra's Avatar, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't really know what happened to Sokka. And that was another thing. It was really good to see Zuko.
Let's say,
because you never really got to see him in Season 2 that much.
Yeah, he popped up for a second.
Yeah, for a second. That was about it. And that was really cool.
I just find it hilarious that Zuko, who's older than Katara, just looks like he grew into like a moderately old man, and Katara looks like she turned into Yoda. No offense to Katara, but
no.
Good lord.
Yeah.
Like, it hit her hard.
And Katara looked like she got shorter too, which is weird.
She's like freaking she's like Momo height now.
Yeah.
Maybe not that short, but
I mean, I don't know how that happened, but you know. But
old age.
But also, I like Zahir and I like the Red Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were really cool bad guys. I like their introductions with them breaking out of these really elaborate prisons.
That was really cool.
Those were all really cool. And I liked that their plan was to cause chaos, and as a way of creating balance. Now, granted, the only thing I did not like is the fact that they had to destroy Ba Sing Se again, because this isn't the first time that a group has taken over or attacked Ba Sing Se. This is like the third time.
The Earth Kingdom just needs to stop trying. They just need to build smaller cities that aren't like immense and covered in crappy people.
Is that, and also the Earth Kingdom needs to stop being so dang corrupt.
Yeah, that too.
Because the Earth Queen was just like, she made me so angry, and I just hated her. Hence, when she died,
oh my god,
I was like, thank you, but I was like, oh my goodness, is this really? Oh wow, they just killed her, didn't they?
I say there was a suicide, murder, killing in the first season, and there was a friggin' super dark suffocation murder in the third.
It's just like, wow, this, and not only that, I haven't even gotten to the worst death, or not even worse, but the most just wow death. But I like the fact that it was this kind of like hunt for the Avatar deal. It kind of harkened back to the original series with Zuko hunting for the Avatar, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely it didn't have a modern feel or a steampunk feel. It felt like a fantasy adventure kind of deal, like it was in the past.
Oh yeah.
I like the fact that Korra's character was still evolving. As always, Bolin and Mako are on point and awesome as always. I like the fact that they got to meet their family in the Earth Kingdom. And the funniest thing about that season to me was when the grandmother was talking about the Earth Queen, and she turns and you see a portrait of her on the wall in the middle of the room, and she just bows to it. I'm like, wow, this place has become more like North Korea.
This whole show is just a dialogue on the world governments.
Pretty much. And that was interesting. And I also like the fact that, you know, the new characters that they introduced got their airbending powers. I like Opal a lot, and I hope, even though with what's happened in episode 1 of this new season, I hope Opal and Bolin stay together, because I actually like them, and I think those two work well with each other. I like Jin. I like Jin a lot. He's this, you know, he kind of reminds me of what Jet would be like if his family hadn't died, or if he'd been a little bit more lighthearted and not so murdery.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, I mean, I liked him, and I liked the interaction between him and Jinora. The one thing that I didn't like was the fact that you really didn't get any backstory in the Red Lotus. That was the one thing that kind of hurt the season, because you knew everyone else's backstories primarily. Granted, I personally wanted to know a little bit more about Zuko and, his kid who is now the Fire Lord and that kind of stuff. And I also wanted to know more about Toph and what she's been doing. But the Red Lotus being the prime bad and also being the newest characters, I thought they got a great amount of screen time to be shown, to show their characterizations and show the personalities and get to do stuff. I especially love that one scene where Bolin is talking to, and I forget the guy's name, is talking to the lava bender. And that's the other thing. Just a short one. When it came to the Red Lotus members, I only remember Zahir's name because he was the one that talked the most. He was the one that was presented the most, and he was the figurehead of the group.
Well, yeah.
The other three members, they were just kind of there.
You had water tentacle chick.
Mm-hmm.
You had
lava bender,
lava guy, and you had Sparky Bang Bang.
Boom, yeah,
or Boom Boom, whatever.
Yeah, so and that kind of sucks because they didn't really get good characterizations, except for really the lava bender guy, because you could see that he was kind of a jokester with that whole scene with him and Bolin where he was asking him about about them, and I forget two of the things he said, but one of them was like, and you have a thing for that chick, and he's like, you got 2. Nice, you got 2 out of 3. I was like, I wonder what 2 he's talking about, because the chick was like looking away. As if she was ashamed that she liked him.
Aww.
But there was that. I mean, I wanted to know more about their past. I wanted to know what the Red Lotus really was. I know they said that they originally tried to capture Korra in the past. That would have been a great scene to see, a flashback of them in the past trying to capture Korra and failing. Them conversing with Unalaq since they were supposedly working together. That kind of stuff would have been great if they had done it. But
I mean, they talked about it for like a second.
Yeah, they talked about it, but that's not adequate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like when we went to see How to Train Your Dragon 2, and I was telling you and Gretchen how I wish they had done more with Drago Bloodfist, this guy who was supposed to have been so intimidating and so powerful, and it's like you barely know anything about him besides that one scene where he shows up in a room full of Vikings and like summons dragons to kill them all.
Yeah.
That was it. It would have been nice to have seen him fight the Alpha. How did he control the Alpha? How did he lose his arm? I wanted to see more of his backstory. Why couldn't they do that? That's the same thing here with the Red Lotus. They had a perfect opportunity to show their backstory, show why they became the way they did and form this organization. Because some of the stuff they were doing was really outstandingly cool.
Mm-hmm.
And especially that whole sequence where they have the Avatar tied down under these mines about to kill her with this poison made of metal. That was intense and amazing, but it really didn't hit me so hard because it's like, you've told me basically what you need to tell me in order for me to understand your purpose and all that kind of stuff, but that's not enough,
Yeah.
And it upsets me because I really like these bad guys. And this gets to the whole thing with Zahir. I thought Zahir was a very competent bad guy. He had a very strong presence and a very, I forget, I wouldn't say haunting, but when you listen to him and look at him, he's very stern and serious, and you know that within a second he could probably kill you if he really wanted to. But he wants to teach you something. He has this twisted logic, which I really liked. Hence the whole scene when he kills the Earth Queen, and he's sitting there talking about how when you take the breath out of someone, they'll struggle and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's really twisted.
Yeah, it is.
And that was really cool. And even with that whole little scene towards the end of, I think, the second to last episode where he's talking to his girlfriend, and he was explaining the whole idea of how flight is achieved and all that kind of stuff, which ended up being really cool when he all of a sudden started flying, because I'm like, wow, that's new.
Oh yeah.
But when it comes to that, Zahir was a really cool bad guy, but everyone else just kind of got left in the cutting room floor and were just there to show off really interesting powers. I mean, when it when Zahir first is able to achieve flight, it's right after probably one of the most gruesome death scenes in Avatar, where Sue literally just throws her armor around that chick's face as she's about to release her firebending from her head and essentially blows her own head off.
Yeah.
Which was just, and the fact they cut away from it right as it was happening, I'm like, dang, wow, that was dark. Alright, this show has just won some major brownie points because this presented some of the best deaths in Avatar.
Hell yeah.
And even with the lava bending dude, when he killed himself, I was like, wow, that's pretty messed up, but I can see why you're doing that, you know? And these characters were really interesting, and they brought out some new and unique bending styles. And granted, I thought it was kind of silly that Bolin couldn't metal bend, but he could lava bend. You know, I thought that was kind of silly, but I was like, you know, Bolin needs a second ability amongst his primary abilities, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, Mako can do the lightning. Bolin at least needs something.
Yeah, so I mean that was okay, and that was cool.
Yeah.
So, besides all that, you know, season 3 had the best, in my opinion, the best villains and generally kind of the more interesting plan, but it kind of all came to an end all of a sudden, and it was just okay. And then that ending scene where, you know, Jinora gets her tattoos, which I thought was, you know, slightly good, but then I was like, wait, is that a girl or a boy? Because I couldn't tell. Luckily, as I predicted, she grew her hair back.
Thankfully.
And, you know, cuts it before it gets the arrow, which, you know, past female airbenders did.
Yeah.
But that was interesting, but it kind of ended with, you know, Korra in a wheelchair crying, and I'm like, okay, you know, she went through an interesting she's gone through an interesting ordeal, a very tough ordeal, and granted, she's actually gone through several ordeals over the course of her 10 years Avatar, so this probably kind of put a damper on her psyche. So, you know, it ends on this cliffhanger of what's going to happen next, which, you know, leads us into the primary discussion, which has taken us almost an hour to get to.
Primary.
The first episode. Now, me and you both saw the teaser trailers and whatnot.
Oh, that fucking teaser trailer.
You saw it with the audio. I actually didn't watch it with the audio. I just watched the trailer itself.
You should have watched it with the audio.
See, yeah.
That trailer reveals more than I ever thought a trailer could.
Well, to be honest, when I saw the trailer, I was like, what the heck is going on here? Because, you know, they had the airbenders in what essentially looked like flying squirrel uniforms. Because the first thing I thought when I saw, like, Opal and Jin just flying through the air, I'm like, wow, they turned into Rocky from Rocky and Bullwinkle. But there was that, and, you know, a lot of the action with this new, I don't really want to call her menace, but, you know. But the fact that they decided to jump 3 years was an interesting choice. I want to know how this all turns out, mostly because, you know, I want to know if it actually pays off. Granted, I think 3 years is a relatively good amount of years to have some sort of a gap between, you know, seasons if you're trying to show a change. And it definitely does bring up the question of what's Korra been doing since her previous, you know, encounter with the Red Lotus and whatnot. The things that I, you know, personally pointed out when I was watching it was, the first thing was Quivira seems like she'll be the antagonist, and the reason I say this is because she's got kind of the same problem as Unalaq did. She has this presence, she has this attitude, she has this voice of, I'm gonna be the villain this season. And it's like, great, no mystery, because she's this great unifier who's unifying people pretty much through terror, well, not terror, through
conquest,
you know, conquest and strong arming.
Mm-hmm.
Because personally, I think she has some sort of a ploy in a lot of the robberies and attacks on villages and whatnot. And I find it interesting that she's apparently working independent of the Earth Kingdom, if I'm correct.
Yeah, because Prince Wu is supposed to be the Earth Kingdom prince, and she's going around and uniting it on her own accord.
Exactly. So it brings up this conflict of interest, which will be interesting to see how they develop it. But it's just like, well, that doesn't really spell good with Quivera. Granted, you know, I think she was in some of season 3, but she wasn't, super personified because she apparently worked under Sue's metal bending force, and she had a really cool introduction with the magnetic metal, which I was actually really happy that whole magnet pun that Varric brought up in like season 3, like at the very beginning, where he's like, the next big thing is magnets. I like the fact that magnets kind of came back. I thought that was really cool. But Quivera, I hope that she doesn't end up like Unalaq, which ends up being just another standard I'm your bad guy, I have an evil plan of doing this evil deed, and conflicting with everybody else's ideas of what should be done and all that kind of stuff. And it kind of pains me that Bolin's a part of it, but Bolin's not so much a part of it because he believes in her necessarily conquesting and unifying the Earth Kingdom as much as he believes in the whole idea of helping people, which is very much like Bolin. So that's my personal thought on the first thing. The second thing was I like the fact that they aged up the characters. I like the way they look. They definitely all look a lot more mature because now majority of them are actually in their 20s now, and they do look like they're in their 20s. I like I like the little shtick with Milo, where he's like, last time Korra saw me, I was an airbending boy, but now I'm an airbending man.
Man!
I liked that. I thought that was really cute. I liked... personally, I kind of liked how Mako and Asami look. Granted, like, Mako losing kind of that, stuck-up hair... Not stuck-up, hair pointing kind of deal. Yeah. Almost like the Mishimas.
Exactly.
The Mishimas with their pointy hair. I kind of missed that, but that looks cool. And I also liked how Korra kind of looked, but I'll get back to Korra later. But and besides that, before I actually give you the floor, because I don't want to just railroad you with all my ideas, because I actually got a lot, because I wrote down a lot of notes. The last thing I'll say before I drop the floor to you is and I like or am interested to see where this whole airbending becoming not so much soldiers for hire, but becoming kind of like not so much a militia force but a peacekeeping force. I really do want to see where that goes, because I mean right now you only see Jin and Opal doing it, but I kind of want to see, is Boomy like the head of it, seeing as he was the head of the Unified Nation forces at the time period. I wanted to see where that was going to go. So, what are some of your thoughts so far?
This episode. Basically, I spent the whole episode going, who the hell is this Cueva... What's her name?
Quivera.
Who the hell is this Quivera person? Why the hell does she have power? Why the hell is Bolin following her? Why is Korra being a whole, like, depresso, sad, angry, sad person? Why the hell are they giving the freaking, like, royalty to Prince Wu, the douchebaggiest douchebag in all of douchebaggery?
God, I really hate him.
Like,
I really hate him already.
I don't know, like, this first episode just leaves nothing but question. Because it's like, I get that it's 3 years in the future, but they don't even explain how Quivera decided to do what she's doing. Like, even in passing, they don't explain, like, the last like few seconds of the show, or us finding out that Korra's been gone for 6 months, implying that for less than 2.5 years, she's been recuperated and able to travel about on her own, doing Lord knows what for 6 whole months. The friggin' what's it called? The whole Opal getting mad at Bolin thing for doing stuff. I don't even know if Bolin realizes that she's doing things the way she's doing them, or if he does, he still somehow thinks it's helping. I don't know, but I feel like that conflict seems totally, I don't know, somewhat meaningless, because, I mean, they don't seem like the kind of characters to war. It didn't seem like it was when it was Asami and Korra, or Asami and Mako and Korra and Mako, where at some point they were at each other's throats, it just seems like they're having a normal, like, bickery thing among couples, so it didn't really seem all that pertinent to the episode. I mean, and the whole people not recognizing Korra, I just find that to be malarkey. Because she's, like, the most recognizable person. She has freaking Chun-Li hips. Or thighs. She has Chun-Li thighs. She has bright blue eyes. And she can earthbend. And even though apparently she sucks balls at earthbending now. Maybe. I don't know if she's throwing fights on purpose. But I just don't see how 3 years is not enough time to forget a face. Because the Avatar is like forgetting the face of the Dalai Lama or Buddha. It's a pretty pertinent and a relevant career title, and with the dawn of things like the movers, and with the dawn of like newspapers and pictures and all that crap they're doing in the steampunky world of Republic City, there's bound to be pictures of her places, and I just do not believe people are like, oh, you look like that Avatar chick. Are you? No. I just don't believe that that's that easy to pass off. That's like Obama growing an afro and people not knowing who he is anymore. It's ridiculous.
See, I kind of felt the same way, though one of Korra's most defining parts of her is kind of her, how she dresses and her hairstyle, which, that was interesting because I saw this, I don't know if it was a meme or something, but I saw this thing where it was talking about how Korra was like, oh, I'm going to throw away all my old clothes and wear this new kind of ratty stuff, and I'm also going to cut my hair as a defiance and blah, 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 and they showed, like, that Elizabeth chick from Bioshock Infinite, and she's like, why are you stealing my shtick? And I was like, oh, wow, yeah, you're right, you two do look the same, but, like, the way she dresses and her hairstyle were kind of, like, the biggest way she could be defined, because she was essentially wearing the same waterbending clothes throughout season 1, 2, and 3, if I remember clearly, and she almost always had her hair in that style,
pigtail kind of thing.
The two bangs and a ponytail.
No, she had like those the two tails hanging down on either side of her face.
Yeah, so without that and kind of this short hair look and the fact that she's kind of got this demeanor of lying low and whatnot, I guess I can see her being somewhat unrecognizable. Granted, when her dad, Tonrock, was like, oh, she's been gone for 6 months. I thought she was here with you guys. I was like, what has she been doing for the past 6 months? And granted, you see her, and what was so funny was I was like, wait, is this like earth-bending MMA? Because like they were kind of like in this Otacon, not Otacon, octagon cage kind of deal, fighting each other, and I was like, okay, so this must be like MMA.
I feel like it's illegal though, because it looked kind of shady. They were like in some kind of warehouse.
Yeah, it probably is illegal, but the fact that she's been doing this, I'm like, besides this, what else has she been doing? Because I want to know what she's been doing for the past 3 years, and especially these 6 months where she apparently was not in contact with any of her friends. That was interesting to me. Granted, the fact that this was pretty much a Korra-less episode, I actually kind of liked, because it was like it gave you some time to explore some of the other characters and see what they were doing. I like the fact that you got to see what Bolin and Opal and Jin and Asami, Mako, and Lin to a degree were doing, and all that kind of stuff, and you got some information on how things have changed. I did kind of like how they began the episode with like not so much a retrospective, but a look back and a look forward through this mover news footage. I thought that was really cool, but I also thought that was kind of, expected. But it was an interesting way to start off, to a degree, at least to me. And then as the episode went on, it's like, this is how things have changed. Just getting the audience aware of, the Earth Queen's dead, but they're gonna have a new king, and this prince kid, who, like you said, you hate him. I hate him too. He annoys the crap out of me, and I hate the fact that Mako's stuck with him. I really do.
Oh, I have a quick question. Who is this Jin you keep talking about?
Jin?
Yeah.
Janora's dude.
Janora's dude is named Kai.
Damn it!
Who the fuck? I was sitting here for 10 minutes like, who the fuck are you talking about?
You know why I might have mistaken him?
Because you were talking about the Mishimas.
No, not the Mishimas. There's this other show I'm watching where there's a character named Jin who looks exactly like him.
Gotcha. I was so confused. I'm sitting there going,
Jin,
are you talking...
Kai, Jin, Kai.
I was wondering why you kept saying Jinora and then Jin, and I'm like, they're the same person, aren't they? You just give it Jinora a nickname, right?
No, that'd be saying Jinora's a dude.
Hey, she's pretty ballsy, man.
Yes, she is. So excuse me, with Kai.
One more thing. I'm really confused. Like, 6 months is a long ass time.
Yeah, it's half a year, dude.
with this person who is like, it's very obvious that Korra was depressed and sad and freaking out and a little crazy. Like, and I'm pretty sure in somewhere as small as she was in the North Pole, right?
She probably was she was either in the North Pole or the South Pole. I think she's actually from the South Pole. I think.
Regardless, in somewhere as small and confined as that, it wouldn't be that hard to notice somebody in that much of a dark place.
No.
Who just lets their like super depressed daughter travel across the entire globe, halfway across the globe, somewhere?
Well, I mean, she is the Avatar.
Well, yeah, but she's also like totally traumatized and screwed up. Like, she's clearly messed up in the head now.
I wouldn't really say messed up in the head, but it's just like she's just got a lot of baggage on her.
I mean, that's 6 months where you've avoided friends and family and been basically using yourself as a fighting puppet for money.
I mean, it makes me interested in why she's doing it and what she's been up to. That's really kind of what makes me a little more interested in what's going on, because it's like I don't know what's going on and I want to know if they're going to explore it or not. And with this whole reveal, thanks to you telling me this, that Toph is going to be showing up at some point, which...
Don't blame me for the last 2 seconds of the trailer.
No.
The trailer said this, by the way.
I'm not going to blame you. This is all on them. But with this whole information that Toph supposedly is going to be coming back, I'm guessing she's going to play some role in getting her back on track. Which, to be honest, of all people to get her back on track, Toph, but okay.
I mean, Toph's pretty demanding. I feel like if there's anyone to be like, do your shit and be a man and ball up, I mean, Toph would definitely be that person.
Yeah, but part of me would have thought Zuko would have been at some point some more helpful in that general area.
I feel like Zuko's really helpful to that extent, but I don't know. I feel like they're trying really hard not to give like Zuko this big giant role, just because he's not Fire Lord and he really doesn't have much reason to leave the Fire Nation that often anymore.
True.
Like, I mean, because he even said, like, in 3rd season that he had to go back and, like, watch over his daughter who was the Fire Lord.
Well, that was because, the Red Lotus potentially were going to come after her next.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think they're trying to give Zuko that big of a section just to kind of alienate the old cast from the new cast, Because, like,
more than likely.
Even Katara's only gotten a few parts here and there, and they've damn near completely cut Aang out of the equation almost entirely.
Well, Aang is gone out of the equation.
Well, yeah, but in the 1st and 2nd season, they showed like constant flashbacks of Aang for
true.
every instance, and Aang was the one who restored her bending, and then they're just like, Aang, who's Aang? Avatar Korra National Park.
Well, it's like we said before, though, because season 1 was supposed to be originally was a one-shot. Aang would have played a major role, but
yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, I'm interested in to see where this is necessarily going. I do want to see a little bit more about Kavira, mostly because it's weird. It is, like you said, it's kind of weird that this one random lady who, based off my immediate knowledge, was only a part of Sue's security force, ended up amassing kind of this group of people who are essentially, I don't want to say kind of like fascists, but are not fascists. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a it's a militarized group that's going around taking over countries, and maybe
conquistadors.
Maybe. I mean, I was about to say maybe this is supposed to be some sort of a not a homage. That's the wrong word. Maybe this is supposed to be some sort of a commentary on what's going on in current day America, or not current day America, but currently in the world with the what's that group that we're
ISIS?
freaking out about? Yep.
Well, this cartoon just took a dark turn into the world of reality.
I mean, if that's exactly what they're doing, because isn't that essentially what ISIS is doing?
To some extent, but they're not really doing it for power as much as they are for. I mean, from what I've been able to gather, partially religious benefit, but I mean, I think they're just doing it as a ploy for. I don't know. It's somewhat for power, but it doesn't seem like Quilava or whatever the hell her name is really doing it for the same types of reasons exactly.
Right.
Because I mean, there's not even really a religion in this era, so it just seems like she's kind of just doing it for the sake of like, we don't really know yet, honestly. Like she could have, like they could be screwing us over right now. Like I don't remember the trailer that well, but I know there was images and like scenes of them fighting a bad person. I just cannot remember if it was a guy or girl. I thought it was a guy. So they may just be screwing us, making us think that this chick is like this, like total asshole. When in reality, she's more like a Earth Queen kind of person. She's a dick politically, but she's not exactly the bad guy.
Now, see, if that was the case, that'd be really interesting. But at this immediate time period, with just this episode, with just going based off this one episode, that doesn't look like the setup. But if that was in fact the setup for something, for another guy potentially being the big bad, and she was, being a dick about it, but wasn't the one trying to take over the world or fight people or cause all these problems, and was naturally just trying to bring back some sort of unity. Albeit by a really kind of warped sense of what brings unity. Yeah. But, if that was the case, I would definitely give this season higher credits. But then again, I've only got one episode to go based off, and this episode solely by itself, I would say that it's both kind of a good introduction and also kind of a meh introduction.
So many questions unanswered!
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. There's a lot of questions. There are a lot of questions now. And, last season they showed like 3 episodes when it first came back, and that probably would have helped here, but I'm actually kind of glad that they're not showing like multiple episodes and they're actually going back to the whole 1 episode a week format, mostly because I kind of miss television that did that, at least when it comes to shows like these where it's very much not episodic, but every episode tells a piece of a big, huge story. And I like the fact that you get like a week to, come up with your assertions and all that kind of stuff and your ideas, and then in the next episode you get new stuff revealed, and it's like, okay, let me change some of my ideas a little bit here, and so this is what I think is going to happen. You get to learn new information every week, and it just builds and builds and builds until like you're 13 weeks into the show, and then it comes down to that last episode, and it's like, I've been doing this for 13 weeks. Let's see how this ends. And hopefully, because last season ended on a mixed note. The season before that ended on also kind of a mixed note. And the season prior kind of ended on not so much a high note, but a very good note.
Yeah.
So hopefully this season kind of builds in a way that it ends on a very good note.
Though I do really like how, unlike seasons 2 and 3, this season's actually pretty much piggybanking blatantly off of season 3. Like it's pretty much carrying on right from where it left off, even if it's a 3-year jump. It's still kind of carrying on. Like at the end of season 3, she was screwed up and sad and depressed, and now we're seeing the effects long term of what happened to her.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're going to see a lot more character development this season than we've seen any other time, because unlike the other seasons where they were just kind of like I was confused why when Amon was taken down. I mean, when you take down a dictator, you still have people who support the dictator. Like, I'm just surprised the Equalists just evaporated completely, like all of them. Like there was, I can guarantee there were still people hovering around who were still militantly like involved in in taking down bending.
Right.
But I mean, like I do like how specifically how this season connects very well to the last one. So I feel like they're doing a good job of making me more invested in the characters, because when it was like that season by season different story thing, I didn't feel as much connection to the characters because they didn't seem to develop that much personally, like individually. I feel like a couple of them got some really like significant development, but now we're really seeing like, because everyone really vies for the main character to get the most development, and now we're really seeing the most development that's probably going to happen for Korra is her tragedy in season 3, and now we're seeing the crap that she's going to go through, that she's going through now that a little bit of time has passed, and we're seeing how much it's changed her.
Right.
And I'm really excited for that.
See, and that's kind of why I think this season will probably be a lot stronger, because originally when the show was when the show got renewed to a degree and got the new seasons, like we had said, season 1 was a one-off, so season 2 was kind of just made. But after season 2 with season 3 and season 4, I think they had a plan of where they were gonna go. Because like in the previous Avatar series, it was like they kind of knew where their end goal was. They kind of knew what the ending was gonna be. He was gonna beat the Fire Lord, restore balance, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. All the extra stuff was probably made throughout the entire series, and you know that all was created, came up with, explored, and developed.
Yeah.
But with season 3 and season 4, I think those two are gonna gel well together, and I think season 4 might even make season 3 a lot better than it turned out, in my opinion.
I can see that.
So I mean, I have high hopes, and just based off this one episode, I think they're on a decent start, and you know, I think that, you know, with time, the characters will probably grow and develop. We might get some new characters, and we might be proven wrong. At least I might be proven wrong, and maybe Corvera is actually a good person. It is just acting really harsh because, you know, that's just how she has to be. And
I really hope so. Like,
well, yeah,
I don't want to immediately sign her off as a total cockbag, but it's really hard not to.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get introduced to, you know, some newer characters, and maybe these won't just be the only characters left that are introduced, and it'll help advance the story plot and everything, and we'll get a very good ending to this show, because I've for the most part enjoyed Korra. I mean, granted, I still prefer The Last Airbender over Korra, but I've enjoyed it, and I'm actually genuinely going to be sad to see it go. I was telling a friend earlier today that when I heard the news that Naruto was going to be ending in 5 weeks, there was a part of me that actually kind of felt sad. Mostly because it's like, here's something that I've pretty much grown up with about to end, you know, and I've been so used to hearing about it and reading stuff on it and all that kind of stuff. It's just going to be hard to see it kind of come to an end and wrap up. And with this specifically, the fact that, you know, it doesn't look like we're probably going to get any more Avatar stuff for a while.
Yeah.
And there will be no movies, no new animated series, and probably no more comic books, because I think after The Rift, because its 3rd volume is coming out next month, after The Rift there are probably not going to be any more comic books. Avatar is pretty much going to be kind of done. And the fact that we've been able to have 10 years worth of Avatar stuff has been utterly a blessing. Because the fact that when it ended back in 2008, for the longest time we thought that was it, and then we got not even I don't even know how to feel anymore about the movie.
Wait, what movie? There was a movie?
Ah, I see what you did there.
Ah, yeah.
But you know, but I honestly do hope, you know, the next episode is good, which will be coming out this Friday, hopefully. I'll be able to watch it.
At what time, Brinson?
It comes out online.
Well, I mean, don't they usually upload it a certain time online too?
Do they? Oh,
I don't know.
Okay, if I remember clearly, the episodes are always on Nick.com, and if they do it exactly how they did it in season 3, they should be up at noon p.m. Eastern time, if I'm correct. And if you're like me and you try to want to watch it when it comes out, Your internet might not suck like mine, but I cannot get the episode to run to save my life when it first comes on, so I'll probably will be watching it right after I get off work, so at like 10:30 at night. But you know, it's good to at least have something to watch, because I haven't had anything really to watch recently except for a show that I will not disclose. But I will say that it is pretty famous and it's a remake of a very old show. So,
Pretty famous and a remake of a. Give me a hint.
Fighting Evil by Moonlight.
Fighting Evil by Moonlight. Twilight. The series.
You're an idiot. Please tell me that you are joking with me.
I don't know. Fighting Evil by Moonlight. There's a lot of shows that take
Winning
place.
Love by Daylight. Never running from a real fight. She's the one named.
Fighting in the Moon. Dazzler.
No, but I need to find more Dazzler comics.
Dazzler.
No, it's Sailor Moon, you idiot.
Oh, I've honestly never seen Sailor Moon. I was afraid to watch it when I was a kid because of the random parts where they transformed, and my parents would have thought they were naked.
Well, seeing as I watched Sailor Moon with my baby sister, who was no longer a baby sister and who's 18 frickin' years old. Actually, no, she's 19 frickin' years old. Excuse me.
She's not a child anymore, sir.
She's still my baby sister, and seeing as me and her still watch it, I've been watching the new series, but it's nice to have something else to watch on TV, or not TV, the internet again.
True.
But so far, if I had to give it a grade, I'd give season 4, episode 1, excuse me, of Korra, I'd probably give it like a 3 out of 5.
I'm gonna say 2 out of 5 because I feel like they needed to at least answer one question. And other than where the fuck is Korra, they didn't put like any backstory to anything in episode 1. So it left me sitting there saying, who the hell are any of these people and what the frig is going on like the entire episode. So I mean, I give it a 2 out of 5, but I'm willing to change that provided episodes 2 or 3 give me something. I will change my grade to a 3 or a 4. Provided they at least give me something. Don't screw me over and play me 6 episodes and don't reveal nothing until episode 8 or 9.
Yes, let's not ever have a repeat of the Red Lotus, please.
Yes, seriously. I don't want to sit there on like episode 7 and being like, oh, this guy who goes to this place must be a nice guy. He's totally just another airbender. He's not Zahir. And then he's Zahir.
Yeah, that kind of messed with me because I'm like, wait, that eyebrow. That eyebrow seems familiar.
I remember seeing that somewhere.
Yeah, that was the most defining thing about him when he shaved off all his hair, to be honest.
Yeah, really.
But yeah, so that ends today's discussion. Thank you for listening to our tomfoolery and nonsense. This went on for a lot longer than I thought it would, but then again, we did have to give our opinions on the first 3 seasons.
Yeah, so the next episode won't be anywhere near this long, I assume.
You never know with me.
True that.
But yeah. So, until next time, when we discuss episode 2... It's not The Calling. Dang it. Now I forget the episode. You
forgot the name of the episode.
Yes, I did forget the name of the episode. Season 4, episode 2 of Korra. I'm Brinson Jones here with...
Oh, me? I'm just a guy 1021.
And we will see you next week with a fantastic review of the last season of Korra.
Okay, goodbye.